In this video, I'm going to show you how to build an AI sales agent that has memory associated with every lead that comes in that inquires about your business and can use that memory when responding back to that lead throughout different conversations. This tool is going to be built in N8N, and we're going to use the memory system of Backboard.io. So Backboard.io is known as the world's smartest AI memory, and essentially this tool gives us long-term memory that we can associate with every individual that comes in and is interested in our company. And once we have that memory associated with each lead, when they follow back up 3 months from now, we have all that information and we can use that to craft a more personalized response using this AI agent. So I'm going to walk through how this agent is set up piece by piece, and really quick, we're going to test this out. So this agent is first triggered when a new lead comes into our CRM. In this case, our CRM is Airtable. So in Airtable, when someone fills out a form, maybe they respond to our Facebook ad. When they fill out the form on the Facebook ad, we get all of this insight. So we get their name, we get their email, company, their intent for what they're looking for, their budget, project description, timeline. So we get all of these things that they fill out on the form. And that gets passed, we have a different workflow that gets passed from Facebook in this example to Airtable. Airtable is our CRM. Once a new lead comes in to Airtable, it sets off this trigger. So what this does is it goes into Backboard.io, which is this tool that we have here, and I'll show you how to set this up. But in Backboard.io, we create what is called as a thread. So a thread is essentially an instance of memory. So when we create a thread in Backboard.io, the AI sets aside space within its database for memory for this conversation. And so as we have a conversation with this lead, as we send them an email, as we learn more about their background, all of that gets stored in that particular thread. And so we have this thread, and then we go ahead and have our AI agent that we have built in Backboard ahead of this video, and I'll show you how to build this right now. So we have an AI assistant that we can create here. So we can call it Sales Agent Demo. We can click Create. As you can see, I've already created this sales agent here. And what I've done here is I've used this prompt to train it on how to create a good email, right? So I'll show you that in just a second. But what this agent is going to do, once a new lead comes in, we want to reach out to that lead right away. We want to respond to that lead immediately. And so we have this agent write up the email, and then it sends it to us for feedback. And so when we have the sales agent, the output of this agent is going to be the email. Then it sends that email with some context to us first as the business owner. So it's going to send this email to us, and then we are going to give feedback. The feedback is we're going to look over the email and we're going to say, go ahead and send this, or change this or change that. We can give custom feedback in a text box, and that feedback, if we don't like the email, that feedback can be sent back to our sales agent to revise the email and then sent back to us again for feedback. So this is what we call as a human in the loop sales agent, where we as the business owner have the final say before we send out this email. This is specifically great for folks who want to start using an AI system, but they're not fully comfortable with it doing work or creating communication or sending communication outside of your company. Reaching out to leads, if you're doing calls or text or any of that, you'd want to make sure that you have the final say. You can check off everything before it gets sent. It still saves you a ton of time in writing the email, drafting the email, and revising it. Once you go through this process of checking a few of the emails, you can come back to this agent and change the system prompt a little bit so that it can better train it, tune it to what you'd like. You get the draft email, you approve or decline it, and if you decline it, it keeps coming back, sending you the most updated request, the most updated email that it wrote. And then once you finally approve it, it goes ahead and sends that email, and then it updates the record in your Airtable database with the thread ID that's associated, or with the place in memory that is associated with that particular lead. So in this example, as you can see in this Airtable database, I have this table that I just set up with our lead named LeBron James, and I'm going to execute this really fast just to show you what this looks like. So we've manually executed the workflow. So assuming that this lead just came in a second ago, it's creating a brand new thread, it's drafting an email, and now what it's doing is it's drafted this email, right? This is the email. Transform your scheduling with an AI voice agent solution. Thanks for reaching out with your interest in developing a custom AI solution for the Los Angeles Lakers. So this is the email. We'll see it in just a second. And it sent it to our email, to my inbox, for feedback. I see this email in my inbox that says approval required for new lead LeBron James. LeBron James has, this is the context. Please approve or decline the sending of this message generated by myself, the AI specialist. Thank you for reaching out with your interest in developing a custom AI solution for the LA Lakers. I understand that you're looking to enhance your scheduling process with the voice agent, serving as a secretary to handle incoming calls and manage appointments. So just a second ago, we had created this new lead saying LeBron James wants this. He wants a voice agent to serve as his secretary by taking incoming calls and booking appointments on his calendar. And so this took that as context, took the context that we trained it with in the system prompt, and gave this email. So this is what it said we did. We developed an AI voice agent for this past company. This is who we worked with. These are some of the results. Our team is confident that we can get you something within 2 weeks. I would love to discuss further. And so what this is doing is this gives me the ability to give feedback. And so what I want to say, let's think of some feedback to give. Let's say, make the email more concise, shorten it a bit. So I'm just going to say, make it more concise, shorten it. Submitted it, great, that can be closed. So I close that out, and let's see what this is doing. Okay, great. So it checked for feedback. It looked at our text that we just sent. It said, okay, make it more concise, shorten it up. That tells this agent that I declined that email, the sending of that email. And so it knows that I wanted to shorten it up a bit. So it looks like it had given us a different email that it just created with this sales agent revision step. And then it passed that email back and now is waiting for me to give feedback again. And so I see that I just got this email just now, and it says we're looking for a custom AI voice solution. This is the subject. And as you can see, this is a lot shorter of an email. Thank you for considering us for your AI solution needs. We're excited to help you streamline. This is much, much shorter. So it did do what I had asked, and I could ask more specific things. I could go back and forth and do this revision 3 or 4 times. I'm just going to say, go ahead and send. This looks good to me. Great, submit. And now what we see is that it ended up just going through this path that is the approval path, and then it sent that email. So like the approval branch was called because I wrote go ahead and send, looks good. It sent the email, and then it updated our record with the particular thread ID. And now you can see here that I just sent this to the email from this Airtable database, and this is the email that we have. So what's great about this agent is that this now has memory associated to every lead that comes into our business. And so now whenever we get other emails from this particular email address, we can go back to reference that thread ID, and that gives us all of the context from all of the past conversations, and we can pass that thread ID back into our agent or our sales agent, and it can use that context to provide a more accurate response or more personalized response for that lead. And so this is super, super useful when you want to build up a lead list, you're using advertising, and you want to make sure that every lead feels like they are seen, they're heard, because you have all their context. So that is the system end to end, and I'll walk through how to set this up specifically in Backboard.io so that you can get going with this right away. So in order to set this up, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need an N8N account. To do that, you're going to want to go to n8n.io and sign up for a basic account. It is free to get started. I would highly recommend you just start playing around with N8N. I think to set workflows live, that's when it starts charging you. So once you have N8N up and going, you're going to want to create a Backboard.io account. Type in Backboard.io, you'll get to this screen right here. Allow you to sign up with your email or type in your email and create a password. And then that will take you to this documentation page. You'll immediately get to this docs page and you'll get to this quick start here that allows you to start using the Backboard.io features. The first thing that I would recommend you do, if this is your first time signing up with Backboard.io, is go to Manage API Keys and click Create New Key. Copy that API key, save it somewhere so that when you start calling the AI agent, and you start calling the Backboard.io API, you have your API key that you can reference. So copy the API key, then come over to chat. For this build out, we're going to want to go to assistant and create a brand new assistant. So I just created this earlier in the video. So I'm going to click edit. And what I've done, right now it just says description is be friendly, but I have this description here from earlier, and I'm going to copy this over and paste this right here as our instructions for this new agent. So what this agent is saying is that you're an expert salesperson for an agency that delivers AI solutions. Your job is to respond to incoming leads by addressing their needs in a professional manner. You will receive information like the lead's project description, their timeline, and your goal is to convince him that we are the best AI agency on the market. So again, these are some of the rules going into more detail about how it should respond, what it should expect, all of that good stuff. And then I have some information here about previous projects that we've done. So this is good when we're sending out an email. As a sales agent, you want to know how to pitch your business. And so you want to have some information about testimonials, past clients, past work, all the things that highlight the success of what you've done. So you want to highlight these things, promote them here so that your sales agent can use them in conversations. So that's what I've done here. I have some projects, scopes, outcomes, all of that good stuff here. And then final notes is sign off all of the emails with my name. And that is it. We're going to hit save. And now that is all we need to do for this agent. We have this assistant that is live within our Backboard.io account. Now what we're going to want to do in Backboard.io is click to assistants, and we're going to use this feature for list assistants. So list assistants will give us all of the assistants that we've just created. In our case, we've just created this sales agent demo. So we do want to look up all of the assistants, find the assistant ID that's associated with this sales agent demo so that we can use that assistant ID in our build out. So as I mentioned, we want to use the list assistants API call. In order to do this call in N8N, we have to create a brand new HTTP request module. So all calls in Backboard.io will be called from this HTTP request. I'm going to rename this really quick to get all assistants, just so that it's very clear to all of us what we are trying to do here. We're doing a get method. We have our API key, and we have our request URL, which is our base URL plus API-assistants. So what I'm going to do is just paste in an old URL that I have here, cancel this connection, and I'm going to go in and just grab what I need here. This is perfect. Okay, so I have the base URL -API-assistants. We already have this written up here. Let me double check. Perfect. That is all that we need for the request URL. We need a header of the API key, and then we want to check if there's anything else that we need. So it seems that we don't need anything else. Let's go ahead and try this out. Let's hit save, execute step. Perfect. As you can see, we just ran this and we see the output here of all of the different agents that we've created. Most recently, we've created this agent right here, which is our sales agent demo with this description. Let's make sure when we grab this sales agent demo that the description is actually updated to the accurate description. So as you can see, the get all assistants returned all of the different assistants that I've used on my account. Recently, this is the one we just created at the start of this video, which is the sales agent demo with the description of be friendly. It seems that this one has not updated the description as of yet. As you see, this description's a lot longer. So what I'm going to do is just use the existing sales agent that I've used earlier on, which is this exact system prompt that we just went through. So I'm going to use this sales agent, and what we need from this sales agent is this. We just need this assistant ID. We're going to copy that over, and then when we create a thread, we're going to need that assistant ID. What we're going to do here is we're going to copy the assistant ID right here. And what that does is it creates a thread that's for that specific assistant that we have already created with the trained prompt. So now for this step, we have the create thread function. So the create thread function essentially, as I mentioned, it creates a space in memory for this AI to remember information about a particular lead. And so when we create a new thread, that API is right here under quick start. You create a brand new thread. You do so here with this sort of a post request. We have our assistant ID. So I've just pasted that assistant ID, and we're going to create a thread from that ID. Once we create a thread, we have our sales agent with that assistant ID. We actually don't need the assistant ID for the sales agent to call the specific thread. All we need is a thread ID. So we actually don't need the specific assistant ID for this sales agent module because it's calling a particular thread, and that thread is associated with a particular assistant. And so you can have one assistant with multiple threads. You can only call the thread ID when you need to reference that assistant because the thread has an existing like a parent assistant associated with that. So that is how this module is set up. And again, this draft email is simply just sending a message to a thread. And that function is going to be right here, which is to add message to thread. So we're going to use this documentation, follow these steps exactly. So we have a post request with this request URL. In this case, this is the thread ID. Which we've, dynamically brought in from N8N. We have our JSON dash. So we have this URL being matched, post request, great. And then we have everything else using that instruction there. And then we pass in a specific message that we want to specify. In our case, this is the message that we're specifying. So we have an incoming lead, and we have this specific lead's name, their email, their intent, their budget, their company, their project description, and their timeline. All of that information came when the lead came into our CRM. We have all that information associated with that lead. So we're going to pull all of that from the Airtable module, and we're just going to give all of this information to the agent as the message, saying this is an incoming lead, this is all the details, go write me a draft. That's what it does. It goes to write you a draft, and then as you know, it sends that draft to us for feedback. And so you've seen this when I just did the demo. Approval required for this particular lead. This is their name. And then it says this person's, let me open this up. This person's name from this company is looking for this intent. This is their intent. Their budget is X with a specific timeline, like a 2-week timeline. Please approve or deny the sending of this message generated by myself, the AI specialist. This is the subject of the email, and this is the email itself, the email body. So all of that gets sent to us to approve or deny, or send just open-ended feedback. And as you've seen, that looks like this, right? So LeBron James from LA Lakers looking for a custom AI solution. Their budget is X with a 2-week timeline. So all of that was just the populated message with all the specific variables for this lead, and you just saw the template that we were using in N8N to get this going. So then we have our email, and then we respond and we give feedback. In this case, we had already responded, so we're good there. So we give feedback, it checks the feedback. So when it checks the feedback, this is a classification tool in N8N. And so what this is, it's the text classifier. So when you type in text classifier in N8N, you'll get this specific text to classify, and you can add categories. You can add approved and deny. And you can put descriptions for what an approval means or a description for what deny means. So if you see the approval message is this email has been approved and accepted as is, the human explicitly or implicitly expresses approval, indicating that no changes are needed. Example phrases include looks good, go ahead and send it, this works for me. This is really helpful because I can just say sounds good, and that it signifies an approval. I don't have to specify anything specific. So the implicit messages will also work, which is really, really useful. And then also, it can imply that we have denied it. If we've given any feedback or any constructive criticism, it'll take that as, okay, you've declined it. And again, we're passing in the data.text, which is just the output of this particular module here. So again, after this classifier, we've approved it. Let's say we've approved it. We're going to send it to our specific email. We're going to send this subject in the email. We're saying this is your intent. This is your name. Very standard subject line that a company would send out. And then this is the output of the specific email. If we didn't approve, then we're going to go back to our sales agent and say, change this thing. So he specifically says, this is the email. This is the original email. And this is the feedback from human. Human is us. Feedback from human is this. And then it's going to go back to this loop, take the output of this, go back into the loop, and say, okay, now this is a new email, go get feedback, and then we do this whole process again. So this is the human in the loop component. Last thing here is that we've added a large language model with the text classifier. This needs an AI, like large language model, to do this classification. And so we cannot use Backbord.io for this. We have to add one of these chat models. And so I've just used OpenAI for the purposes of this video. The last thing we're doing here is we're updating our record with the specific thread ID. So the thread ID, again, is useful because if you want to create another workflow that says any incoming emails, look at the email, find the thread ID that's associated with this email, just do some search function in Airtable, give me that thread ID, pass it into the AI agent so that it knows, it goes back to check, okay, who is this person? What is their intent? When did they come in? What is our communication with them, etc. It can log all of that here. So it has all that context when it provides further outreach messages. So this is where you update the thread ID right here. So hopefully that makes sense. That is how you get an AI sales agent with long-term memory that has specific memory for every lead that comes into your CRM. And to set something like this up, I just walked through each module. So hopefully that makes sense. Happy to answer questions in the comments as you have it, but hope that was helpful, and I will see you all in the next video.